With me now is Jessica, who was a part of the Global Sumud Land Convoy that was in conjunction with the flotilla. Jessica, if you can just encapsulate the journey for us, how was it for you guys, the reception from the Libyan authorities and the Libyan people as a whole?
Thank you. So I'm really glad you mentioned the flotilla. So I think the land convoy, the Global Relief Land Convoy, worked in tangent with the flotilla. We sort of embraced the idea that Palestine will be free by land and by sea. So while our comrades were being subjected to incredible torture by the IOF, we were amongst a group of 300 participants from around the world who were trying to deliver specialized humanitarian aid to the people of Gaza through a land convoy. So we had 300 participants from around the world, but largely Maghreb participants. And I think that is what is so politically interesting about this land convoy in particular, was it was led by comrades in the Maghreb. We, at least as South Africans, viewed it as a pan-African, resistance, anti-colonial resistance. And we had 20 mobile homes, 10 ambulances, medical supplies, medical humanitarian relief, and groups of specialized humanitarian assistance like doctors, social workers, psychologists, engineers, lawyers, teachers, who were all hoping to gain access and support the people of Palestine and the people of Gaza who are trying to rebuild in the midst of this genocide.
Like the flotilla, unfortunately, you guys didn't get to reach the Rafah crossing, ultimately Gaza. The impact of these land convoys and these flotillas, largely criticized, by many, saying they're not as impactful. The people of Palestine don't feel their impact. From your perspective, was this impactful, and should we still go about this route when it comes to these flotillas and these convoys?
So I think thinking about this in two ways. So there's the material way about the humanitarian aid. So I just want to make the point that while what we were carrying was insufficient for the amount of devastation that the people are facing in Gaza, we still were carrying a substantial amount of humanitarian aid, and that's why we really stress that we had all these mobile homes, we had all these ambulances, because it was not just symbolic. It is insufficient for what they're enduring, but it is not just a symbolic amount of aid. And this was aid that had been purchased from communities, from people on the convoy. It was not gifted, it was not from big humanitarian organizations, it was from ordinary civilians in the convoy. So that is the material impact. I think the political impact is different. So we were stopped in the East Libyan town of Sirte, which is the first town in East Libya, and we were blocked from going further. Our plan was obviously to move through Libya into Egypt and to the Rafah crossing, but before we could get to the Egyptian border, we were stopped. We had ongoing negotiations with the Red Crescent, which wasn't... We had ongoing negotiations with the Red Crescent, we had ongoing negotiations with the East Libyan government, but the response to our request for safe passage was never fully met. And eventually a group of 10 negotiators went in to negotiate our safe passage, and we lost contact with them. They were abducted and have been detained, and we have not heard from them. This is day 8 now. So I think, sort of back in Johannesburg, reflecting on the mission, the first thing I think of is that the mission is not over. The mission is not over not just because our 10 comrades are detained. The mission is not over because 9,500 Palestinian hostages remain in Israeli prisons. The mission is not over because Palestine is not free. But I think what we did do is expose this interconnected web of complicity. We might not have been like on the flotilla where we were directly attacked by IOF soldiers. We experienced bureaucratic and administrative warfare that exposes multi levels of complicity of governments and states and actors and humanitarian actors around the world, who are all leveraging this genocide, who are all leveraging the request of the delivery of humanitarian aid for political reasons.